Hey, what's up, everyone? So the PlayStation 5 Pro has been announced, and we've been speaking about this in stream recently, so I thought I'd make a video around it, and we'll go through the reveal trailer for it. There's another video as well as a technical video that goes on for about 9 to 10 minutes, which I haven't watched yet. We're going to react to that for the first time, and I want to share my views on the PlayStation 5 Pro today, and if I think it's worth it or not. So I see a lot of people are hyped by this. It's a new console, PS5 Pro. I am a PS fanboy at heart before I moved to PC, so I am interested in this news. The one thing initially, which I'm going to say now, is I can't get my head around the price tag. $700. Without a disc drive, without the vertical stand, they can't even throw in the vertical stand for $700. So I'm expecting something mega. I really am for that price. And from the reveal trailer, I wasn't too keen. And I'm hoping that it can sell it to me a little bit more in the additional technical presentation. So let's watch the reveal trailer for the PS5 Pro. We'll do this first. I did watch this the other day, so I've already seen this one. So introducing PlayStation 5 Pro, the next leap. I like how it leaps up as it does that. The next leap in console gaming. Enhanced with PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution. So I'm not 100% sold on what exactly that is. High frame rates up to 120 frames per second. There is a little disclaimer there though, so let me just pause. Now 120 frames per second's good. Okay? It is good. My 6-7-year-old PC struggles to reach that now when I go ultra settings. I'm getting like 90 frames per second on a 7-year-old PC, which is good. It's not too bad on the Division 2 when we play that, and I struggle on some even more up-to-date games. So 120 frames is good, but you do need to take note that this feature is only available on select PS5 games that have been enhanced for PS5 Pro when compared with PS5. PS5 Pro enhanced features will vary by game. So it's only on games that are going to enhance themselves to meet that. Don't think every single game is going to be 120 frames, because it's not. Plus, you need to make sure you have the TV or monitor for it as well. We'll speak about that. Advanced ray tracing. Again, we're going to pause that. Feature only available on select PS5 games that have been enhanced for PS5 Pro when compared with PS5. PS5 Pro enhanced features will vary by game. And then the bit that really got me, remember the price tag, $700 for this, right? Vertical stand sold separately. Like, you're not even giving you the vertical stand. Sorry, serious. Okay. PS5 Pro, Witness, Play, Unleashed. It's got Go Faster stripes on it. I think that's the only difference. I got my PlayStation 5 over there. It's looking quite bulky. It's big. I'm imagining this is a little bit more smaller than that. Looking hella dusty as well. Oh, these are clean. But it's got some Go Faster stripes on it. Looking a bit like a Dodge Viper there. But otherwise, it looks pretty much the same as the PS5. I do like the look of the PlayStation 5, to be honest with you. It looks good. It does look good. We can't knock the look of it. And I can't just give us the vertical stand. $700, Sony. Give us the vertical stand at least. We need to move on. So I'm not impressed with the reveal myself, personally. I think the price is absolutely extortionate. And the stuff they're saying there with the whole only games that are enhanced for it. What games are going to be enhanced for it? You know, like, what games are going to be enhanced? And in all honesty, since I've owned my PlayStation 5, I'm still playing the Division 2, because gaming's not exactly going next level at the minute, is it? I'm still playing a PlayStation 4 game. So what games in your library is going to take advantage of this PlayStation 5 Pro? That's my next question. You know, is it just going to be 1 or 2 games? Is it going to be games that we're even interested in? Why am I spending $700 on a console? Please sell it to me. That it's not selling it to me. The comments are all like that. I haven't even read the comments, but no disc drive either. You can get the disc drive. I believe it's an extra $80 for the disc drive, so make that $780. And then the vertical stand's probably going to cost you $30 or something. So it's going to be over $800 for this console if you want it with the vertical stand as pictured, and if you want a disc drive in it, which I don't care too much. Like the one I've got, the PS5 I've got, is digital only, so I don't care too much for that. I don't even have disc drives on my PCs or anything no more. I have the Xbox as well, which is just digital. I'm fully digital, so I don't mind the disc drive not being in there. I like that they removed that. But yeah, this is base price. No game. In fact, sorry, I lied. There is a game included. You get Astro Play. Does it say it in here? There's this Astro game that's pre-installed when you buy it, which everybody wants. Everybody. Okay, so let's have a look at this then, because I'm not sold on this. I'm a PS fanboy. I did switch to PlayStation, sorry, to PC gaming in the last year. I did do that, and it's the best thing I've ever done. Honestly, I recommend it to everybody. I really do. It's a hard sell for some though, because I understand the benefits of console gaming. The plug and play aspect. It's just you just plug it into your TV. You can chill on the couch. You don't need a whole desk setup to play or anything like that. And it just works, doesn't it? Right? Console gaming just works. I get it. I really do. And for $700, let's see. This has got to sell it to me now. The PS5 Pro technical presentation hosted by Mark Cerny. Let's have a look at this.
Immersion to the sound of the games.
Okay. From the start, I haven't watched this. There's 1 minute 32 in there. I must have clicked it earlier.
Hi, I'm Mark Cerny. I'm excited to be here to talk about the newest addition to our console lineup, PlayStation 5 Pro, and how it advances gaming technology. But first, I want to take just a minute to look at what we put in the original PlayStation 5 and how it delivers an exceptional gaming experience. When PS5 debuted in 2020, it brought a lot to the table. 8 Zen 2 CPU cores form the brains of PlayStation 5 and enable high-speed complex gameplay, with character counts reaching into the hundreds and frame rates that can be as high as 120 frames a second. PS5 has a powerful RDNA 2 GPU, which can render anything from intricate details to fantastic worlds with vast panoramas to it.
I've Googled that RDN2 GPU, and they use that to power the AMD 6000 series. We'll be looking at that after this.
Explore. Ray tracing allows for dramatic visual improvements, including reflections off of water or glass, and the realism that comes from real-time global illumination. A custom SSD can load data at breathtaking speed, resulting in ultra-fast transitions between game worlds and data streaming rates so high that traversal speeds are essentially unlimited.
You okay? I'm working on it!
Tempest 3D audio tech brings an unparalleled sense of immersion to the sound of the games. With audio so real, you may not even need to see the enemies to know exactly where they are. Finally, the DualSense controller has haptics that let you feel through your hands what your character is experiencing inside of the game. It's wonderful to see such variety and richness of game experiences. Creators have made amazing use of the hardware capabilities, but when I talk to them, I do hear about their desire for more graphics performance. The dreams of the developers are bigger than can be supported at 60 frames per second, and that leads to an aspect of modern gaming that we're all familiar with: graphics modes. It can be a difficult choice for players.
This really annoyed me. So when I got the PlayStation 5, the first game that I played, which was PS5, I think it was PS5 only. I think it's Spider-Man Miles Morales, I think, and I wanted to play with the ray tracing, but I couldn't unless I only had 30 frames. I was like, I'm not playing at 30 frames. like, what? It's PlayStation 5. I want at least 60 frames on this thing. So you had to choose between whether you wanted the ray tracing and everything on, or whether you wanted the frames per second. Now, I obviously chose frames per second because that, you know, that's important. So this is a good thing, is what I'm saying. This is good.
Fidelity modes emphasize the visuals, typically through higher resolution rendering. These modes might also have enhanced detail or use more ray tracing. But the games only run at 30 frames per second. The visuals can be choppier and the controls less responsive. Performance modes emphasize frame rate and interactivity, typically choosing to run at 60 frames per second. Mainly by
You know what I find mad? Even the PS5 in performance mode only got to 60 frames per second, and I don't even think that was on every game.
reducing the graphical detail until those frame rates can be achieved. When asked to decide on a mode,
Like, I don't mean to keep cutting in, but I've got a 7-year-old system here with a 1080 Ti graphics card. It's old, and I can even get up to 90 frames on some games. You know, it's 60 frames is quite low, really. I know it's not in the console world, but it is quite low.
players are choosing performance about 3/4 of the time. Removing that decision, or at least narrowing that divide, is one of the key targets for PlayStation 5 Pro. We want to give players the graphics that the game creators aspire to, at the high frame rates.
Hang on. What did he just say?
It's about 3/4 of the time. Removing that decision, or at least narrowing that divide.
Removing that decision, or at least narrowing that divide. I thought it was completely being removed. I thought, so it's not even, they might just be narrowing that divide with the PlayStation 5 Pro.
Is one of the key targets for PlayStation 5 Pro. We want to give players the graphics that the game creators aspire to, at the high frame rates that players typically prefer. To do that, PS5 Pro substantially improves over PlayStation 5 in 3 ways. Here's what we call the Big 3. First, we made the GPU much larger and increased the speed of the memory it uses. The result is rendering that's up to 45% faster. Second, we made major upgrades to the ray tracing, taking a streamlined and accelerated approach that allows calculation of the rays at double or even triple the speeds of PlayStation 5. And finally, we added custom hardware for machine learning and an AI library called PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, or PSSR for short. PSSR analyzes the game images pixel by pixel and can add an extraordinary amount of detail, which boosts the effective resolution of the games. Game creators are adding PS5 Pro support to new and existing titles, and with the Big 3 involved, the results can be pretty amazing, with graphics showing something like fidelity levels of detail, but at double the frame rate. Here's The Last of Us Part 2 running on PS5 Pro. It has huge amounts of detail and targets a super smooth 60 frames per second. Let's compare this to the Fidelity mode on PS5, which is only running at 30 frames per second and is therefore much choppier.
Does look much better, but only 60 frames.
Performance frame rates has been achieved for a broad set of titles, including Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. We can see that PS5 Pro is close to doubling the power of PlayStation 5. Another way to compare the two consoles is to look at PS5 Pro versus Performance mode on PS5, both of which target 60 frames per second. What we see here is a difference in detail. PS5 Pro is much sharper and crisper than PS5. For this, my favorite is the parade scene from Ratchet & Clank. Distant details are much clearer. And here we can see Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is noticeably higher resolution throughout the scene, including the trees and procedural cars.
All this looks good, and it does. You can see the improvements, and it does improve it 100%. When you're playing this, and you actually sat down and you're playing this, you're not noticing half of it. You're really not. That's my issue with stuff like this. Side by side, yes. just yes. Although side by side here, both of those screens are different. They're different zooms. Well, maybe not with the tree. You can definitely see it side by side. But playing it...
So overall, some remarkable improvement to the games. On PS5 Pro, we can see increased sharpness to the graphics or smoother and more responsive gameplay. This is the big three showing their value. As you've been seeing, machine learning via the PSSR library is being used quite broadly to add pixel detail and boost frame rate. But there are as many approaches as there are game engines. The increase in raw GPU power is being especially effective for Horizon Forbidden West. Apart from the detail boost, that extra graphics power is allowing for improvements to lighting and visual effects, as well as to the hair and the skin in cinematics.
Open up, guys. Jorv's orders.
Good enough for me.
Ray tracing is finding broad usage as well, particularly when the games are focused on higher frame rates. The faster hardware in PS5 Pro can make a real difference, allowing Gran Turismo 7 to add ray-traced reflections between the cars in gameplay, while continuing to support their targeted 60 frames per second.
Still want to play this game.
That boost in ray tracing is also delivering big wins for Hogwarts Legacy, allowing
That
not
floor
only for
does
better
look good. Look at that
reflections and a greater
reflection then off
variety
the
of
window.
reflective surfaces, but also for further realism in the casting of shadows. I hope you've enjoyed this run-through of the technology behind PlayStation 5 Pro. Simply put, it's the most powerful console we've ever built, and a worthy addition to the PS5 family. Let me wrap this up by giving you a quick look at a number of games running on the new console.
You'll never
Of course. Spider-Man.
Close your eyes. It'll be worth it.
Okay.
Did I do it? Oh, what is this? What's with all the neon?
God. Vertical stand sold separately. Available November 7th, 2024. $700. £700. What? Where's the conversion there? Like, why? What? 800 euros. Is that yen? What? Where? Pounds worth more than dollar. Where's the conversion? £700. I've been saying dollars throughout. It's £700 as well. £700. Okay. So, I don't want to sound super negative about this. I know loads of people are really positive, and it is definitely better. Like, they have made probably their most powerful console ever. They have. It's the most powerful console PlayStation have ever made, and it does look great. The improvements are there. It is definitely getting improved. Games that were currently running at 30 frames with like ray tracing and everything on PS5 are now going to run at 60 frames with ray tracing available, rather than having to turn the ray tracing off and stuff. The pixels and everything, it does just look better. It's rendering a lot better. It's an improvement for sure. They did the same with the PlayStation 4. They went from the PlayStation 4 to the PlayStation 4 Pro. And I didn't buy the PS4 Pro myself at the time for the same sort of reasoning, because it's not that much of an improvement when you're just sat there playing. If you look at it side by side, you will see all these improvements for sure. Like now, you'll see the side by side improvements. But when you're actually in the game, you're playing, you're not focusing in, and you're not zooming in. Yeah, remember, all these are zoomed in images. So when you're zooming in on this image, of course, it's going to look and show the graphics that are better. You're zooming in again on the tree there. You're going to see the improvement. When you sat there playing the game and you're not zooming in like this, and you just sat there playing, all these enhancements, yes, they're there. I agree, but they're not as noticeable as these screenshots are showing. So it's great and everything. But I wouldn't say it's anything groundbreaking. I imagine like the speeds and all that sort of stuff are much better again. The rendering's obviously better. And it's for sure going to look better. Now, there's a few things you need to take into account, though. For one, on the reveal trailer, they said that game, they sold it as going up to 120 frames per second. Throughout the whole of that technical thing, you only really mentioned 60 frames per second for the games that he mentioned. So I can't imagine a ton of games running at 120 in that respect. And he also said about the fidelity mode and the performance mode and closing the gap, not completely removing it. So I imagine if you want to play, as they create more games and as they enhance more games, if you want to play at the 120 frames per second, you are probably going to still have to lose some on the graphics, because it's only closing that gap. It's not completely removing it. So it's still going to have that aspect to it where you want more frames. You're going to have to counter that with some graphical loss. It does look stunning. I love the Harry Potter there, the floor and the ray tracing. It's great. My main concern for this is the price. £800 is extortionate. And it really is. And if you're thinking £800 for a console, my advice really is to highly recommend and consider PC gaming for that price. Now, I'll tell you why I recommend PC gaming for that price. I know a lot of people say PC gaming is more expensive. Well, £800 is very expensive. Very expensive. If you can get a pre-build for £800, that's probably going to be better than that. I am not a huge tech head, so you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments here. But I found this PC on Cyberpower PC very quickly. Just found an £800 PC. So this is the same price as what you get in that console for. This comes with a vertical stand. It can stand up, and it's good. It's not bad. So obviously it's not going to be the best PC in the world, okay? Because PCs can get very expensive. They really can. But it is a good starter PC. It comes with a Intel i5 processor, which is absolutely fine for gaming. 6-core. Again, not the best processor, but you're paying £800. It'll do. It'll work fine. The graphics card is a GeForce RTX 4060, 8GB RAM on that on board. So that's a 40 series graphics card. Where I mentioned before about the thing that's powering their graphics card in the PS5 being used for the AMD 6000 series. Well, the AMD 6000 series, I believe, is behind the 40 series on the RTX. I think it's the equivalent of the 30 series. Again, I'm not 100% on that. I'm not huge into my tech, but I think that's from a little research where it's at. So they're using something in the PS5 Pro that powers the 6000 series graphics cards for AMD, and those series graphics cards compared to the GeForce 30 series. This is a 40 series, 4060. You're going to have ray tracing and all of that stuff. It comes with 16GB DDR4 RAM. Not the fastest RAM, but it's good. It'll do. It's fine. It's a nice base system that's probably going to be better than the PlayStation 5 Pro. It might have some aspects where it's not as good as a PS5 Pro. Maybe the loading times, because the processor, i5, not the best processor in there. But it still comes with the M.2 slot if you want to put an M.2 drive in there, just like the PlayStation 5 has. It comes with 1TB on the hard drive. PlayStation 5 comes with 2TB. That's a win on that part. But the difference with this, above all else, is that this can then be improved. So you can get this as a base unit, and you can then improve this as you go. If in the future, if you want to increase the RAM, get better RAM, you can do at a very low, much lower price than £800. You just need to buy the RAM and upgrade it. If you want to upgrade the graphics card, you can do. You can upgrade the graphics card down the line. If you want to upgrade the i5 processor, which is not the best processor, down the line in a few years, you can do. You could buy this for £800 and it will last you a long time before the need of upgrading. And you can buy the PS5 Pro for £800 and within a few years, they're probably going to announce a PS6 and try and sell that to you. By the time the PS6 comes out, which is probably going to cost you another, £500, £600 by then, if not more, the way they're going, this is still going to be relevant. This £800 rig that you bought, this is still going to be relevant. Like I've mentioned a few times in this video that I'm running a very old PC myself. I'm on a 1080 Ti graphics card still. I'm running, I'm on Ryzen, not Intel chip. And I forget what, I think it's Ryzen 5 that I'm on. So I've got a very old processor in there. I've got a very old graphics card in there. But I'd still say that this is performing better than the PS5. Not the Pro. But it's performing better than the PS5. And it's like 6-7 years old. I've not upgraded it. I've had no need to. It's getting to a point where I do need to upgrade it now. I'm not going to lie. And I am thinking about doing that. But it's lasted so long. I've been able to play games at much higher than 60 frames per second as well. Much higher. You know? And for that reason, if you are considering the PlayStation 5 Pro for that price, I really do think you should be considering PC gaming. The price is just too extortionate for me. I can't get my head around £800 or £700 for a console. And yeah, that rig has shown you as £100 more, but if you want a vertical stand or a disk drive, you're probably going to be getting close to the £800 mark anyway for the PS5 Pro. And if you like playing with controller, you can use that controller that just showing you on a PC, no problem. And yeah, you have to buy some extra peripherals as well. But if I don't know what you play your PlayStation 5 on, but here's the thing with these systems. If you've got to have the TV or monitor compatible enough to play these on anyway. So if you're going to be going to a PlayStation 5 Pro and expecting to play a game on 120 frames, but you don't have the monitor or the TV for it, you're not getting 120 frames anyway. You really do need a good TV that's going to support that or a good monitor that's going to support that. So you'd probably be looking to upgrade that potentially anyway. And so that's the additional thing you're going to need when you're buying a PC is a monitor, a keyboard and mouse. But if you're a controller player, you can get a keyboard and mouse cheap. You're probably looking at like £1,000 all in, to be honest with you, with a monitor, or a little bit more if you want a very good monitor. But the same to go with the PS5 Pro. Like, it's going to be £700 for the Pro. But then if you need to upgrade your TV or monitor to make sure you get the full advanced features from that, then you're going to have to buy that as well anyway, which is also going to go above that price. I'm not sold. I think it's too expensive. I really do. I think the price of it, I get it. Like I said, I get console gaming. I was a console gamer for so long, and I've only moved to PC in the last year, and I'd never go back. I really wouldn't personally. I love PC gaming, and where I like having my consoles, and I do get them. They are so much easier to manage. They just work. PC can be a little bit infuriating at times, and I get it. But for £700, I'd just stick with your PlayStation 5s, guys. Just stick with your PlayStation 5s. Wait for the PS6. I do not think this is worth it for that amount of money. I would, like I said, I'd be seriously considering PC gaming over the PlayStation 5 Pro if that's what you're considering. But that's just my advice and my thoughts on this. It's definitely an improvement, 100%. And if you can afford that sort of money and you don't mind spending that sort of money on an upgrade like this, then go ahead. Like, it definitely looks good. And I think if I wasn't a PC gamer, I'd probably be tempted myself. I probably would go and buy this, to be fair. But yeah, I just wanted to cover that today and share my thoughts. We were speaking about it in stream the other day. I thought that might make a good video. So thank you for watching me. I appreciate it. Hit like on the video if you enjoyed it today. Subscribe if you're new here. Until the next one, take care and peace out.